the cycle of violence. Join us to discuss the issue, Dr. Hope Hill, who's director of Howard University's Violence Prevention Project. And from D.C. Police Headquarters, Deputy Chief William Ritchie. Thank you for joining us. Chief, if I could start with you, please. Let's talk about, well, let's just not talk about statistics. Let's talk about real life. You're out there on the streets on an everyday basis. Is this becoming more and more a problem, kids killing kids?
Well, Brian, so far this year, the homicide branch has arrested 40 young men under the age of 18 for homicide-related charges. Since 1990 through 93, the average age of homicide victims here in the district was about 29 years of age. So far this year, the average age is about 25. So our victims are getting younger, and the number of juveniles that we are arresting for homicide-related charges is on the increase.
Now, there's a case in the news just today about a youngster, a teenager, apparently helped to plot the murder of a security guard. Are you familiar with that case?
Yes, just briefly, the security guard working in the 6th District area of the city is once again a very unfortunate situation. However, that case was successfully resolved by our joint MPD homicide Red Rum unit.
Why is it that more and more kids are getting caught up in this violence? Why is the age getting younger and younger in your mind?
Well, I have my own theory.
Well, that's what I want to hear. What's your theory?
It is a learned behavior. When I was a commander of homicide during the late 1980s, I would go to the scene of some of these homicides, and you would see a lot of kids just standing around observing what was going on, seeing conflict being resolved on the street, utilizing deadly force. And at that particular time, I did not observe any checks and balances such as parents or civic leaders or anyone else pulling those kids to the side and saying, look, this is not the way that conflict should be resolved.
Chief, hold on there for a minute. I want to talk to Dr. Hope Hill, who is nodding her head in complete agreement. You believe it is something that kids are picking up these days? What might have been a schoolyard scuffle in the past has turned to something far more deadly.
You're exactly right, and the chief is exactly right. It is a learned behavior, and as he said, children don't wake up just one morning and decide they're going to get a gun and get out and kill someone. It is a result of years of witnessing violence, both in the street, at home, and in the media. And this is a phenomena that gives children the message that the world is very unsafe.
Kids become desensitized, you say.
Not only do kids become desensitized, but my concern is that the public is becoming desensitized. The murder that we just heard about, a 13-year-old killing a 13-year-old, every citizen in this community must be outraged and must make a renewed commitment to do something about this problem.
We talk about a cycle of violence. Kids are witness to violence. They see conflicts being resolved by violence, according to the chief. How do you break that cycle? Step in and say, no, this is not the way you resolve conflict.
In many ways, and it has to be done at school, right out on the street where the chief is talking about, right after youngsters have witnessed homicides, have witnessed physical assaults. It has to be done in partnership with the police and the church. Number one, schools must send the message that the school is a safe place for children to be. But above all, parents must recommit themselves to keeping the community safe and making sure that there is no child in that neighborhood who really goes without adult supervision.
You're saying that the parents need to be more involved. Nobody would argue with that point. Yet there are some programs being debated right now up on Capitol Hill. The Midnight Basketball League, for one. Some people say they've been very successful getting kids off the street. If they're going to be up that hour, at least they're playing basketball and they're not out doing other things. Is that something that can work? Is that something you support?
I support it, but I support it in the context of other meaningful programs. Above all, youngsters need an economic opportunity into mainstream America. So in addition to midnight basketball, we have to make sure that every kid leaving high school has the technical skills that's really going to put her or him in a position to make a living and to live a life that really the American dream has promised.
Chief Ritchie, I want you to weigh in on this midnight basketball thing. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's a good idea. Of course, I'm a former athlete, and one of my degrees is in physical education. So I think it is a wholesome worthwhile activity on the part of the young men. I'd just like to comment on what Dr. Hill was saying. Not only do the kids need to be prepared when they get out of high school, but they need to be prepared in elementary school to face the many challenges of junior high school. That is probably the period of time when they're going to face their biggest challenge to move forward, where they're going to face their biggest challenge as far as peer pressure. And if they don't have that foundation, then they will not be able to accomplish those things required to get out of high school.
I know you want to get one more word in.
Yeah, I just want to support what the chief is saying and let the audience know that there is such a program operating now in Washington, actually. It's at Howard. It's the Howard University Violence Prevention Project. And that project is specifically for children who witness violence. And it really is designed to help them make that transition from 6th grade to 7th grade, and also to support.
Today, when court resumes, Dr. Henry Lee, which